a lot of people are afraid to succeed. They're afraid that, obviously you're afraid to fail, but people are also afraid, like, what if this actually does work out? Can I handle the pressure of succeeding?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
That's true.
It's crazy. People self-sabotage all the time because they're afraid, what if this does work out? What if I go as far as I hope to go? Can I handle that? Am I capable of holding the weight of that much pressure, that much success, or whatever field you're in? Can I handle that, reaching that goal?
Hey mate, I'm Coach Mitch and welcome to the Unbreakable Man podcast. It's my goal to help you achieve excellent results in the area of your health and physical fitness, your career or business, your relationships, and in your own personal passions. This is going to be your one-stop shop if you are the kind of man who wants to achieve his fullest potential in life. And the only way to do that is by becoming unbreakable. All right, guys, welcome to the Unbreakable Man podcast. Today, I am fortunate enough to be sitting down with Adam Green from the Brotherhood down in Burleigh on the Gold Coast. How are you today, Adam?
Very well, thanks. And yourself?
Yeah, brother? Yeah, very well, man.
Very well to be here.
Awesome, man. So, obviously, we're going to talk about the Brotherhood, and that is like your pet project, your passion project in your life. We'll get to that. But the first thing I want to do is just to introduce you to my audience.
Yep.
And to see what kind of a guy you are. My first question for you, man, is what is something that you do just for the fun of it?
Always the first thing that comes to mind is the right one. I love to jump off cliffs into water. Go to waterfalls, walk around there, find a cliff and jump into the water.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
What's your favorite cliff you've ever jumped off then?
There's one out in the lower portals of Mount Barney. It was pretty recently. I only just started recently building up enough confidence because I was always so, I thought too much about it. I'd get in, I'll test the waters, make sure it's clear. I don't want to slip off the edge. But recently, I don't know, something's blocked, something's changed to me. It's unblocked. So I'm just trying to find higher and higher ones. And this one was the highest I've done. It was probably maybe, I'm going to say 10 meters, but maybe it wasn't that high. Maybe 8 meters or so. Just ran and sent it off the edge. It hurt when I hit the water. I knew it was pretty high. And it was just that feeling of falling and that thrill of just coming off the edge. It was wicked.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful place too.
Man, you are going to have to show me where that is because I run the Unbreakable Man retreats at Mount Barney.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of cool kind of crazy stuff with the guys.
Yep.
But a lot of it is about overcoming fear and overcoming, some of that self-doubt around what you can do.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty sweet. Is that the only one there, or is it are there levels to it?
I know there's a fair few, and I'll link you up with Sam. He's our guide for that area, and he knows the back of his hand. So I'll link up with him, and he can take on the best hikes you've ever seen. So
cool.
That'd be sick.
That'll be good. That'd be really good. My favorite, I wouldn't say my favorite cliff dive, but the biggest one we did was down at Yamba. Have you ever cliffed over in Yamba?
I've heard someone was telling me, I think yesterday, about one in Yamba. Is it?
There's a big quarry there.
Yep.
So it's you don't even have to think about checking the water, which is great. You know it's deep enough. It's 40 meters deep or something like that. But the tallest one we did was 13 meters.
Yeah,
and it was pretty sketch. We had a little bit of courage juice in us at the time, which may or may not have been the smartest thing to do.
Yeah,
but it definitely helped.
Yep.
And I was absolutely shitting myself because I'm not heights has been something that I've had to teach myself to be good at.
Yeah.
And my whole reason for doing that is because I don't want to not do stuff purely out of fear. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Understandable if it's dangerous. I really could quite easily kill myself doing something. That's different. Yeah. But if it's just my own mentality that's stopping me, then I don't want that to be the case in my life ever if I can help it.
Yeah. That's the exact same for me with the cliff jumping. I saw everyone else doing it. I'm like, okay, they're not dying. They're not going to die. And if you hurt yourself, there's heaps of people here to help you. And the first little block was cleared down. I was like, okay, someone else has done it. I remember going up to the big one when I was first trying to get over that fear because I knew I wasn't doing it purely because of fear. I knew my heart would get all tight. So I remember going up and then just doing it over and over again until it was there was nothing. And now whenever I go for a big jump, I just think, okay, someone's done this before. What's the worst that could happen? I might potentially maybe hit the bottom and hurt myself a little bit, but people have done it so many times it's barely happened. So what's stopping you?
Absolutely.
It's completely out of learning how to not be scared of it. So exact same reasoning, which is cool. It's been fun.
And like you mentioned before, the thrill of getting over the fear is, for me, even more valuable than the thrill of the activity.
Yeah.
Because you go, oh man, I just did that. Even though I was shaking at the top of the cliff.
Yeah. I think there is another part of me, like I know it and I feed into it a bit. Like I know it's the ego saying like, if I just rock up to this huge cliff with all my mates and I just no fear, get up and jump off, they'll be like, oh, that was cool. But then that is going to give them the calmness to do the same thing. Like, because when I first did it, I was like, we were shaky and nervous. The people with me were like, oh, we don't want to try that. But now if I take someone there and I just climb up without any hesitation and jump off, they're like, oh, that was fine. He did it. I can do it. So it's kind of like trying to show, oh yeah, this is easy. And then at the same time, lead people to the same kind of like nonchalant attitude about it. So it's fun. It's so far so good. Nothing bad's happened, but I keep pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
And hopefully nothing bad happens.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like the only thing you can do is just wrap yourself in cotton wool and that's how you live your life.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to be willing to take those risks, calculated ones, obviously.
Yeah.
But you got to live, man.
Yeah. That's kind of when I first started doing it, I look after this 10-year-old. For the last 2 years, we do adventure therapy, where I put in air quotations because I think it's just kind of a term we just use. But we go out on hikes and we swim in waterfalls, we go surfing. And when I first started working with him, he was 8, just scared of everything, just lived with his nan, so no kind of male role models to go out and do adventurous things. So we would go out cliffs like from here to the ground, like a meter off. It's not a cliff, it's a ledge. He would be too scared to jump in. I'd just sit there for 10 minutes trying to like motivate him to jump in. Now he's doing the same ones as me, like the really high ones with no fear. And it's not like nothing's changed. He got a little older, a little taller, but it's just the mindset of, oh, I've done this so many times. Like I have the confidence now. It's just building confidence. So to ensure he had the confidence, I had to pretend to have the confidence to start doing it to get him to do the same thing. So that's how I kind of tricked myself into doing them.
Yeah, no.
Fun. And I don't know, he learned, I learned. So I was really stoked about that.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's really cool. So next question for you then, man. What is either your favorite or most influential book that you've read?
All right. Most influential. I think my first self-development book really changed a lot about me. It was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was an absolute game changer at the time because I was just trying to figure out who I was. It was the first time I had started to think, okay, I'm in the real world. My inadequacies are leading to, bad things. I'm like, if I wasn't working well at a job, I was not getting shifts. If I wasn't getting shifts, I wasn't getting paid, which means I couldn't eat and pay rent, which in turn means I'd die. Like in my mind, I'd die if I didn't get better at this job. So I Googled, it was like a retail job. It was pretty cutthroat for like a retail job. I just Googled ways to get better at selling, and that book came up. I read it cover to cover, like obsessed with it. I started implementing the things the book taught, and then I got really good at that job, became like their top salesman, that was the first time I had really sat down with intent to get really good at something, got really good at it, and got the reward. Things like, sports in school and footy and stuff was the same deal, but never with that much focus and intent. I think I was 19 or 20 at the time, and I was just a bit more mature to understand like my actions have reactions. My inadequacies can't be kept unchecked. So I got into the book, read it cover to cover, implemented it. It was so simple because it was just an instructional guide on how to be better at building rapport. And from there, I built rapport and built trust with people. And all of a sudden, like everything became easy. My people skills were just through the roof. And yeah, that just changed everything. From there, it was just onwards and upwards.
Nice.
So yeah, man. The best book for sure.
Yeah. That's the second time that book has been mentioned on this podcast.
Oh, it's a killer. If you haven't read it, get into it, read it through, take notes, find the ones that you really resonate with, and then try and implement them in life. And
yeah,
I can't remember all of it now, but I feel like if I read it, they're just a habit that's ingrained in me now. So it was good.
Nice. Yeah. So to the man watching this, if you're going to read a book, that one's been mentioned a few times, it's clearly a good one. And I would definitely agree with that as well.
You read it?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And, one thing that I really wish was taught in schools was just a class called communication skills.
Oh, am I allowed to swear? Sorry.
Yeah, you can.
Fucking oh, that's such an important thing. I think that we've never been taught. And I was talking with this like 2 days ago to some guys in school. They're doing like engineering courses and stuff. And I go to this guy. He's an engineer, and I'm like, "What's the biggest thing like in your engineering course that you guys do?" And he's like, "Oh, the best engineers are just good with people. Like they just need to communicate well to the client, to their team. The people who they could be really good engineers but can't communicate, they don't get the jobs."
Yeah.
So crazy how it's not taught in school.
Absolutely,
Ridiculous.
man. It's a skill you need every single day of your life, and
Yep.
it's important across every single field, because guess what? Your life involves other people.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and your ability to, like you said, build rapport with those people, create connections and relationships.
Yep.
That's going to be the determining factor in your success, I think, in
Yeah.
no matter what you do.
Oh yeah.
You know, so like if there was one skill that I would say make sure you master, it's how to communicate with other people, how to get them on your team, how to make sure that, you know, you are talking to them in the way that they want to be spoken to.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm always thinking, what does this person want? What's important to them?
Yeah.
You know, because most people are great at telling other people what they want,
Yep.
but not very good at asking, what do you need right now?
Yeah.
You know, because then, you know, if you want to influence someone, right, then all they care about, when it really comes down to it, is themselves and what they want in their life.
Yeah.
So if you help someone get what they want, then guess what? You know, they're going to want to do the same thing back for you. I think it's a human thing where we're naturally wired to want to give back to those who have done that for us.
Yeah.
You know,
That's totally fair. Like, to think of yourself first in all situations, because without you being able to, without you getting what you want, how can you kind of give to the world? And I think people don't realize when they're asking for things from other people, just think about why it's going to benefit that person. Like, if you think, what outcome do you want? How is it going to be good for them? Like, it just becomes so much easier if you can understand how they're going to be like, oh, doing this for them is going to give me what? If it gives them nothing ever, then they're probably not going to do it. But if you word it in a way that benefits both of you, or at least like comes across in a way, not manipulating, but they can see the side of that's going to benefit them, then it's way easier to get what you want. So
I think the difference between influencing someone and manipulating someone is your intention.
Yeah.
Right? You know, if you actually have, like, I really do want the best for this person.
Yep.
And you are genuine in your actions, then I think you're doing the right thing. You're helping someone make that move, right?
Yeah.
And you know, obviously the crap thing is that some people with great communication skills are not good people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where that manipulation factor can come into play.
Yeah.
But if your intention is to create a better life for yourself and that other person at the same time, then your ability to understand what they want and use that information to help you both get where you want to get to, that's the best outcome.
Yeah.
You know,
doing out of love.
Absolutely.
That's right. Is the main driver. Like, I think that's like one of the biggest drivers to everything. And I was talking to a friend, she's reading Way of the Superior Man, because
awesome.
Her and her partner split up recently, and there was a lot of things in their relationship they need to both work on themselves. And she's like, what books can I read? I'm like, read this. It's going to help you understand his side, and then help you understand like from your side as well. And she's talking about the part where it's like ravishing the woman, and there's a way of doing it that's not with love, and with love, and when it's with love, both parties win. So that's like the main thing. If you're doing something out of love for everyone and yourself, you're always going to win pretty much, which is cool.
100%.
I like that.
Yeah, nice one, man. So last question, just the get to know you question. What's your favorite sport?
I'll be honest, I've never really been a big sports watcher.
Doesn't have to be watch, maybe playing.
Yeah. I used to play AFL footy back in Melbourne when I was younger. I loved playing that. I do love playing most sports, really. Any sport, anything that's active. Like, I haven't committed to one. Like, I play this as with a club, but anything I'll play because I'm pretty competitive and I just enjoy the process. Currently, though, my favorite sport, it's kind of a sport, but endurance, like ultra running. I've gotten really into running in the last maybe 8 to 10 months. Was never really a big like running fiend, and I was like, I'm not a runner. I always said that. I knew if I practiced, I could probably get good at it, but I started doing like endurance runs last year, and all of a sudden I'm obsessed. I just can't stop thinking about it all the time. So
cool.
That's been pretty big for me. It's running in the last 8 months or so.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's been a standout moment for you in that?
Well, I completed a 100-kilometer ultra in December in Mount Kosciuszko.
Damn.
It was snowing. It was just wild. It was like literally scenes from movies. I was climbing up this mountain, running through snow. My leg hairs were frozen. There was snow like gathering on my arms, my eyelashes. And then we got out of there into like this beautiful valley. It looked like Lord of the Rings. I'm like a big fan of Lord of the Rings. So it was just, I don't know, it took 16 hours and 54 minutes. And in that period of time, which isn't really that long in the grand scheme of things, it felt like I lived 7 different lives. Like the whole journey of it was crazy. I don't know, I was by myself for most of it, like pretty much all of it. Maybe the first 2 hours I was with a mate and then we separated. But that run, you just go somewhere else and like you just deal with different things in your head and you go through all your life and you think about all these different things whilst running through the mountains. And that was like, I think I've thought about that race every single day since December, since I did it. So I'm signing up for another one. I'm doing more of them because I was sick.
Nice.
It's really insane.
What was something that you really took home from that?
You can literally do anything you want. Like anything you want, anything you desire, you can do. The body is a vessel, obviously you need to take care of it, but the mind is what runs it. So as long as you have the mentality, you can do it. I had so many people, because I didn't train much for that. I was excited about it, but I didn't prioritize training. I didn't consider myself a runner, and I had so many mates who were, and they had a lot of doubts, and I had a lot of people just saying like, oh, you're not going to finish. And I didn't go in like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I just thought, I'm going to prove myself right. I know I can finish this. And it was one of those things where like everything felt like it was broken, but I could just keep going and going and going. And you hear about that, plus those stories from like, you know, crazy stories like people crawling for miles and miles to find help, people with 2 broken legs, people cutting their arm off. You realize that the body is a vessel that you can utilize, but the mind is what controls it. So like if you just strengthen that, you can do anything.
Absolutely.
That was a big takeaway for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. One of the key things I was trying to teach the guys that I was speaking to in the seminar that I did last night was about being honest with yourself about why you're not doing something.
Yeah.
Like just being honest. You don't have to do it, but at least be honest with yourself about why you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know? Because I can't learn to play the violin. Here's a video of someone with one arm playing the violin. Okay, you could learn.
Yeah.
You just, for whatever reason, you're not, right?
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is that you want to do that you're not currently doing, my only request for anyone listening to this is that you are just honest with yourself about why you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to fail.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of what other people might think of me if I try and fail, or if I even start doing this.
Yeah.
You know? And at least if you just say that, you don't have to take any action. But if that's the truth, at least if you say that, then you know what you really need to change to get where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not that you don't have time. It's not that you don't have money. It's not that you can't make this thing happen somehow.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it's, I'm afraid to try because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and at least if you're honest about it, then when you're ready, you know that it's on you.
Yeah.
And that the change is there for you to make when you're ready.
100%. A lot of people are afraid to succeed. They're afraid that, obviously you're afraid to fail, but people are also afraid, like, what if this actually does work out? Can I handle the pressure of succeeding?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
That's true.
It's crazy. People self-sabotage all the time because they're afraid, what if this does work out? What if I go as far as I hope to go? Can I handle that? Am I capable of holding the weight of that much pressure, that much success, or whatever field you're in? Can I handle that? Reaching that goal. So people constantly self-sabotage because they're afraid if they get to that point, well, then there's no going back. Like, you can't return back to your comfort zone. You can't return back to safety. If you're already out there, you're exposed to the world as this champion. Like, can you handle that pressure? That's why people constantly self-sabotage and they don't put in the effort, because I always say, like, I had a friend the other day, I was training him, and it was just a one-on-one. I was trying to motivate him to get through this circuit faster. I'm like, all right, I'm going to time this circuit, and when you finish, we're going to look at the time and then do it again. And he says, oh, that doesn't really motivate me. I'm like, why not? He goes like, why would I why would I want to push to try and beat a score? Like, if I might fail and not beat it, I don't want that feeling. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't want that feeling? What if you do push and you get the feeling of beating it? And he's like, yeah, but I don't want the feeling of pushing and not getting it. Like, that doesn't motivate me. I'm like, I think you're lying. I think it motivates you to try and beat that, but you're just scared of not beating it. But what if you fail, but what if you don't? Kind of thing. And he got such a good score the next one, and then the next one, he got a better score. And the big thing was, he's always told himself, because he, for a few years, hasn't pushed himself to that limit because he doesn't want to let himself down. But he never thought about, what if I don't fail? What if I do succeed? And then what? So a lot of people and that kind of is going different to what I just said then, but what I'm saying is a lot of people would never really push to that point because of that fear of failing, but they never think about, all right, what if I'm doomed to succeed? What if I do win? What if I do succeed? So I think flipping the script and just thinking like constant positive, like I'm going to try real hard, and the worst case scenario, I might win, kind of thing. Like,
absolutely.
It's a mindset. It's all mindset. Everything's mindset. But I'm just saying, if you push yourself and you're constantly thinking about what if I fail, you're going to manifest failure. But if you push yourself thinking, what if I win? Fair chance you're going to win. It's all just in the head.
Yeah. I think that's called imposter syndrome as well. When you think, okay, well, that next level, I'm not actually in that next level.
Yeah.
So if I take on the optics of that next level, like I start to look like I'm in that level,
yeah,
and people start to connect me with that kind of a person, am I going to live up to that?
Yeah.
And I think the truth of the matter is that every time you go up a level, you're going to have that feeling.
Yeah.
It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
And I suppose how personally I get through that is I just go, well, it doesn't matter if in this moment right now where I'm feeling a bit of that anxiety, I kind of stuff things up and look like a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I just keep doing these things and keep having these kind of moments, I'll get it right, and I will fulfill the expectation of this level.
Yeah.
Like I ran my seminar yesterday, and it's the second one I've done, and I'm certainly not a born public speaker by any stretch, but from being okay with looking like an idiot, you get to the point where you no longer look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And it also, when I think about it in that way, it kind of releases all the pressure from me. Because then I don't care about looking like an idiot. I go, it might happen. I might say something wrong. But all I know is that even if this doesn't work out, I'm just going to continue to go because this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't really care how long it takes me or how I get there or if I stuff things up along the way. I know that if I continue to show up in this area, then I'm going to build the skill that I need to be the man that I want to be.
100%. Consistency. And like, you're right, the fear of not looking like an idiot will get you way further, because all those guys that are too afraid to ask the question will never know. But if you ask the question, and like, I always use this example, and you might like this because you like jits. When I was doing BJJ, if I didn't know something, I would quickly ask, I just couldn't figure it out, I'd quickly ask for help. And there was this brown belt who was super friendly and super open to giving as much information as he loved teaching. So I'd always pull him aside after and like, hey man, I couldn't get that. Can you show me? And then once he'd get into his flow, he'd show me and then show me a bunch of other stuff. So after the sessions, I'll just learn all these cool things that if I was too, proud to ask for help, or I was a bit too like scared to ask for help, I wouldn't learn that first one, but then I would have learned all these other cool things. So I was progressing a lot quicker, because after every class, I'd say, hey, I didn't get that. Can you kind of show me? And he would just start and just unload all these little tips and tricks and techniques to me. So I was learning all that stuff way quicker than the guys that were just like, oh yeah, like I didn't learn it, I'll just try it again next time, and I won't ask for help, I'll just try and watch other people do it. So every time I'd open my mouth like, hey, I do need help, he would give me a bit more than I asked for, and then I learned a lot quicker. So that was really fun.
And the details are so important with jits as well.
Yeah.
5 millimeters
Yep.
in where you position your grip makes the biggest difference.
I was always like messing up, like moving my hips, and like I've got such locked up tight hips. He's always just like, you need to stretch more, but he'd show me like ways that like I could get around that problem, and things were just progressing way faster because like I just wasn't afraid to ask for help. I wasn't afraid to look like I didn't know for the first time, because if you ask a question once, it's fine. If you're constantly asking it, then it's a problem. But
sure,
ask it once and remember what they say, and you'll be sweet.
Yeah, nice. Awesome, man. So, obviously, at this point, everyone who's listening to this recognizes you're a coach, you coach men. So talk to me about how you started. The Brotherhood is obviously what you're doing right now. Where did that come from for you?
It's good. It's a good story. We just turned 2 the other day, 3rd of the 3rd. 2023 is brother's 2nd birthday. The way it started, well, originally it was these 2 guys, Guy and Kato, in a park doing boot camps with like 2-3 guys. They had just started it. I was working in this office job that I absolutely did not like. I tried it from my old retail job. I was in sales. I tried to go into house and land package sales. This smooth talking guy came into the shop once and said, "Hey, do you want a job?" I was capped where I was. I'd hit the ceiling for my retail job. There wasn't much more I could progress into that I wanted to. So I said, "Yeah, I'll work with you." I hated it like a month in, but I told myself I'd do it for a year just to make sure I hated it. Like a month in, I was like, "This sucks," but I'll do it for a year. And I was working that job. One of my mates, we were both feeling the same thing. We're both feeling quite lost. We didn't have a purpose, or like we knew this job we were working for was not our purpose. We felt really out of place. He went on to become a breathwork facilitator. I went on to become a coach. We were working in this office for this tyrant of a boss doing really dodgy deals. And he just said, "Hey, there's these guys I saw at the park working out. You should check them out. They're right up your alley." Because I was still into training. I was still into, alternative holistic living. But I was just going downhill working in this office, stressed out of my mind all the time. So I went and checked them out. And they had an event on their very first event. They'd only been going for like a few months, maybe a few weeks even, in the park. They were going to run an event. I said, "Hey, I'm in. Let's go." Went out into the mountains. You could tell it was their first time, but for what they did, it was a really cool event. And I just, straight away, I'm like, these are my people. I need to be around this. I miss the camaraderie of like when I was in the army when I was younger, or the footy club when I was younger. I miss having like the guys around where we're just constantly struggling together, shared suffering, we're building bonds. And working in an office, just like my body was just atrophying, decaying away, sitting in this office. I saw them, I'm like, I need this in my life again. So I did that event. It flipped a switch in me saying like, what am I doing? You need to take ownership of everything. You're not doing anything that you want to be doing. So I found out like when the 12 months was up for that job was pretty soon. I went and found a new job, and like in my lunch break, found a new job down the road doing like adventure therapy and support work with this ex-army guy.
Perfect for you, mate. Huh?
That was amazing. That was so good. I had a partner at the time who we love each other. We look after each other. We cared for each other, but we weren't meant for each other. We weren't living the same morals and values. We weren't looking for the same things. I finally grew the balls to think about that thought, because I never even entertained that thought of like breaking up, but I still didn't have the guyanas to like really cut it. But she could see what was going on. She kind of brought the conversation up, and then we said, "All right, yep, let's call it how it is. Like, this isn't working." So I'm glad she did that, because I don't know, I wouldn't have built the courage up for at least a few more months maybe. But that was,
I literally had the exact same, well, not exact same experience, but I know exactly what you mean. Good person, just not compatible.
Yeah.
Didn't want the same things in life.
Yeah.
And you could see that if you committed further, you were only going to end up being one of these guys stuck in a relationship he wasn't happy with, perhaps even with kids then. And then it's way harder to kind of untangle this stuff and start being the guy you want to be.
Yep.
Right? It took me 9 months to break off.
It's tricky.
With my, well, I spent 5 years with her as well.
Yeah.
And again, beautiful person. Didn't do anything wrong. And that's the hard thing, right?
Yeah.
If someone really screws you over, it's pretty easy to say, okay, well, pack your bags.
Yeah.
But when someone's, a really great person, but just not right for you, and you spent that much time together and had that much experience, it's difficult, man. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, we were 4 years in. I met her when I was 21. She was 31, so there's a bit of a gap. So she was on a different time frame.
For sure.
We just knew deep down it wasn't working how it should be. I was trying to plan in my head how to make it work, and I was like, nah, that just wouldn't be right with me. But so after that event, quit the job, found a new job, had the hard conversations with her, started to take full ownership of my life, because I was just becoming something I just really did not like. Took full ownership, was training with the boys. Like within a week of training with them, I said, "Hey, I've got a really nice home gym. You guys don't train on Tuesdays or Thursdays. You don't lift any weights in your program. Can I bring in a weightlifting portion to this coaching?" And they said, "For sure, let's do it." So I started training Tuesdays and Thursdays, training the boys there. and then I took over some more classes, and then naturally, constantly running those sessions, stepped up to like a high leadership position. One of the other boys said, "This isn't really for me. I don't want to commit to this." He pulled out, so then it was just Guy and myself. And from there, we were like the same person. We have different qualities, but very, very similar. So we just gelled, and we just started like consistently showing up. And it's been 2 years now. We've got our own gym space. We've got 20 something sessions we run a week. We've got events. We've got 70 odd members plus like 100 something in our community. But backtracking it, what we started running, that I was doing the support work on the side. He was working on a bar on the side, which is so hard because he was up late, up early. He's just a machine. He just hustles like no tomorrow. So he's great. But we're both not fully committing to this thing. So he quit that. I was still doing the support work. It was not many hours, which was good to put a lot into that. But then the mandates hit for COVID, and I didn't align with those mandates, so I just stopped doing my work there. December 16th, I was still kind of like, with my partner at the time, we were still kind of like, not together, but at that stage where like, we're still sometimes seeing each other. That date, we fully cut it off, plus lost my job. It was just like, all right, this is all me. This is all in. I'm going to become a full-time coach. I'm going to make it work. I had no money coming in, but I looked up to this guy, Corey Bowell. You might have heard of him.
Yeah.
Amazing coach. I said, hey, I'm in a position here where I'm ready to take full aggressive action towards my goals. I want to sign up to your program. I want to learn your program, and then I want you to teach me how you run it so I can do the same thing. And I was like, that's a pretty ballsy thing, because he might be like, I don't want any competition. No. But he's like, if you buy my program, afterwards I'll show you exactly how I made it, and I'll show you all the back ends.
Yeah. That's how you know he's a good coach.
He's the best. He's so good. So I bought it with I had no money like coming in at all. Somehow, like a crackhead, I just figured out how to make money to get it, to pay rent, to buy food, and to pay for that course. That was all I needed to do.
Yeah.
So
that's it, man. And I think that you said the word earlier, but you knew what you wanted.
Yeah.
Right? You felt like it was the right thing to you, and the word is purpose.
Yeah.
And did you, when this all kind of started and things were beginning to change, were you aware of the fact that you were looking for a purpose? Did you actually think with that word in mind, or is this something that's kind of been added to the vocabulary over time?
Once I started working with Corey, because he was big on finding purpose, that's when I got very, 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 very clear on what I wanted. But building up to that, I knew what I enjoyed, I knew what I was good at, and I knew what role that kind of looked like. I knew I wanted to coach people, help people, motivate people. I knew I wanted to coach myself and just be a lead from the front kind of guy. But I didn't have purpose in mind. I just did the things that felt right in my gut. Over that period of starting this self-development kind of thing, I started to really listen to my gut a lot more, like my intuition, and that led me down every single right path. Doing that over and over again, my intuition and my head to brain, head to gut kind of connection got a lot stronger. So whenever things felt right, I just go all in. And Corey worked with me to develop a purpose, which I have now refined to a purpose statement, which is to lead men to their highest selves by embodying my core values. Pretty much, it's a fancy way of saying lead by example. So that was my purpose. I found my tribe. I'm going all in. Things just started to work because I was putting everything I could in the right direction. The universe was just saying, yep, let's fund that, let's back that, let's push that. So everything just started to work. And from there, like, it's just been an onwards journey. It's just consistency. And it's been good.
Yeah,
it's been really
absolutely.
Good.
And it feels fantastic.
Exactly.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But it feels awesome.
Yeah.
And doing the hard work even feels good, And so guys watching this, because, I really think that a lot of people, not just men, but people in general, have been done a disservice by never being encouraged to figure out what their purpose is.
Yeah.
And for some guys watching this right now, you might not even really know what we're talking about when we say purpose. So in your opinion, Adam, what is purpose? How would you define it?
That's a good question. I really think there's a lot of times before I started to really work with men and their purpose, I just always say, what do you think about all the time? Because I knew I wanted to be in like the coaching and the fitness industry, because all I could think about was coaching in the fitness industry. So a big thing was like, what do you think about all the time? What's on your mind all the time? Like, people have hobbies or they have passions, then they go work a job that has nothing to do with it. Like, what do you think about in your pastime? What do you walk through the park thinking about? What's always on your mind? Because that's generally pretty much linked to what your purpose at the time would be. And they're never set in stone. They're never cement. Like, my purpose will change progressively as I change. Pardon me. But purpose to me is the thing that you want to spend all your time doing, regardless of pay, regardless of how you feel, regardless of everything around you. What do you want to spend all your effort and time on to build something that's bigger than yourself? I feel like that's purpose to me.
Yeah. And when it comes to like the money thing, for example, because, everyone's got to live. And I think that, if all people had to do was focus on figuring out why they were born, like what they were here to do, then we probably have a lot more purposeful people in life.
Yeah.
However, bills need to be paid, and we need to kind of keep our whole life running, and we need to keep the upkeep going there.
Yep.
And so, one thing that I've spoken about with dudes who have asked me that question is that your purpose may not necessarily be something that can be monetized.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And even in and maybe you'll find a way to monetize it moving forwards.
Yeah.
But don't go, my purpose has to be my work. Just step back a second and go, well, what do I actually love?
Yeah.
What do I love to do? And then when it comes to, okay, if it is something that you could monetize, I don't really like to think of it as what would you do for nothing?
Yeah.
Because we do need to get paid somehow, right?
Yeah.
The way I like to think of it is, if you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you continue to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because most people, let's say you go through the 8 years of university you got to do to become a doctor.
Yeah.
Right? Did you really want to be a doctor, or did you want the status and pay that comes with that?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong if you did want that. That's totally fine, but that was your vehicle to get that.
Yeah.
So if you won 100 mil in the lotto the next day, would you quit your job?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, then that's not your purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Whereas if I won 100 million tomorrow, I'd just be doing what I'm already doing, but on a much grander scale.
Yeah.
Nothing would change. I'd still be showing up to the gym the next day, training the boys, but it'd probably be my gym, and it'd look amazing, So I think that my way of looking at it is, what would you, if you had all the money in the world, what would you continue to do?
That's so crazy that you said that, because I've never thought about voicing this, but I always think about winning the lottery. I always I don't know why, I never buy tickets, I don't play the lottery, but I always think about winning the lottery and continuing the work I do, and then I think about the other things I do, and that subconsciously makes me do more of those things. It's so weird that you said that, because I always think about, all right, I'd set up this music studio for me and my mates, because my best mate's a musician. He's really good. I play the drums, and I want to play more of that. And I would build our gym bigger. So all the things that I think about if I won the lottery are the things that I'm slowly, I've never put these dots together until you've just said that, but I'm slowly just working towards. I've been taking a lot more drum lessons. We're slowly building the gym up. It blows my mind. I got chills when you said that, because I think about it all the time. If I won the lottery, how would I support my community? What would I do daily? I'd still do exactly what I'm doing, but just on a bigger scale. Like you said, I'd just do more of the things that I'm already doing. That's cool. I'm going to use that more often now. What would you do if you won the lottery? What would you do every day?
Yeah. Because what do you think most people say?
Quit their job.
Yeah, and then what would they actually do?
They'd go on holiday, or they'd find their purpose, they'd go travel.
Exactly. Most people say, I travel. What that says to me is, you have no idea what you want.
Yeah.
Right? You're searching. And I think that, most people think, if I could just do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted, that sounds great. But I guarantee that somewhere along the line, you're going to feel empty.
Yeah.
You're going to feel, I can just have anything whenever I like.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the lack of challenge and the lack of meaning in your life is, you're going to be right back with most of the people who are still working a 9 to 5 in terms of how you feel.
Yeah.
So finding your purpose it's literally the top value of Unbreakable Man. It's number one, because you can't do anything if you don't know where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And as men, we're very we like to solve problems in a fairly linear fashion.
Yeah.
That's I think how our minds work most of the time, right? If we're trying to achieve a result, then we get clear on what the result is we're trying to achieve, or if we're trying to get to a place, we get clear on exactly where that place is. But most blokes never look at their life as a journey and a pathway, which is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So where's that end point, or how far forwards can you see right now?
Yeah.
And what could you see yourself doing for the foreseeable future?
That's having a clear destination is the biggest thing, or understanding. Like a big thing that I'll do that I learned through working with Corey is get to the very, very, very root of the why. Like, why is this important to you? And ask that over and over and over and get deep into it. I do that really simply when I train guys, when I bring them in for a consultation for training. I'll say, because I've been in this exact position where a PT is going to me and he's like, all right, like, why do you want to train with me? I'm like, oh yeah, I just want to be functional, kind of look good. But I know in my head, like, that's not the exact answer I want to give. So when I ask that, they'll answer, and then I'll follow up with the same question, and I'll just keep asking, I'll keep whiteboarding this in front of them until we've gotten down to like a very core thing. And a lot of it actually, a very common one is, I want to be a good father. I want to set a good example for my son. Like, a lot of them don't even have kids yet. Like, I want to be a strong dad. I'm like, fuck, that's a really good reason to train, is I want to be like the example for my kids. And then whenever they're training, I bring that up when they're training, and you see the fire in them just like spark up. So getting clear on why you're doing it, why you do anything is really important. Like, ask yourself that in every area of your life, why are you doing this? And if you can't answer that with a strong backed answer, you should probably stop doing it then. So that's a big one.
You should start making some plans.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's say you're a man and you don't know what your purpose is in life, but you recognize it's important for you to figure it out. What's the first step, in your opinion?
Pull yourself out of the mud is a big one. Like, for me personally, I did a lot of things. I tried a lot of different things to understand what I did and didn't like. I think people get too scared to leave a particular job because it provides safety and comfort. Get really good at stepping into the unknown. I worked out of school. I was in the army. I backpacked a lot. I worked some construction jobs. I worked some retail jobs. I worked some sales jobs. I tried a lot of different hobbies. I tried different things, and it was like, to a degree, if I examine it, maybe hobby syndrome, because I was looking for a purpose without actually knowing what I was doing. I was searching for a purpose through picking up and putting down things over and over again, new things over and over again. But what that did is I got to know myself a lot more. I understood what I did and didn't like, especially when it came to people and environments and friendships. I was very like critical on thinking about, all right, is this person serving me? Do I get a lot out of this? Do I enjoy serving them? In regards to relationships, is this like really good for me? All different things. I would just ask over and over again, like, do I enjoy this? And I'll just try new things over and over and over and over and over again until I figured out, I really don't like that. Why don't I like it? Because X, Y, Z. Is that justifiable? Yes. I really don't like that. Why is that? Because X, Y, Z. It's not justifiable. Try again. And I'll just try things until I said, okay, I love doing this. I love these kinds of people. I love this kind of environment. How can I put that into all into one thing? So just trying lots of things and actually thinking about what you're doing. Don't just blasé through it all.
Yeah.
Why you do it.
Being aware.
Exactly.
Aware of how you're feeling in the moment too.
Yeah. Big awareness. That's the big thing. Just being fully aware of everything you've done and why you've done it. And like what's happened to you, all the things that have happened to you and why. And half your problems go away as soon as you're aware of like that kind of thing.
Yeah. One thing I would add to that is along the way is write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down, man. Like, if you ask yourself the question, how do I want my life to look, or what is really important to me, and you can't come up with a lot of stuff, then it's like, okay, let's just go out and explore a little bit, and dip our toe in a few different waters and see what feels good, but I think you've got to write stuff down the whole way along, and especially as you're experiencing some of you're testing some of those things out. You're going to have an opinion on it. You're going to have some feelings that are going to come up for you. When those feelings are fresh, let's take a note of them. Yeah. And that way we can reflect back on that. Yeah. When it's like most apparent in your mind. Yeah. So writing is a big thing. I think a lot of the guys watching this and so many of the men that I coach, like, just never written down goals. Yeah. And it actually makes me sad that their fathers never sat them down and said, son, we're going to write some goals down today.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's only because their fathers were never taught to do that either.
Yeah.
You know, it does make me sad, because then what you just mentioned there about trying all these different things, that's great when you're young.
Yeah.
And you don't have mortgage, marriage, kids. You know, and there's going to be guys watching this right now going to think, okay, well, I just can't, you know, go and do all these different things because I have these other commitments, right? And for those guys, firstly, let's be honest, it's going to be more challenging for you than someone who doesn't have that same level of responsibility.
Yeah.
But just like we said earlier, don't kid yourself into believing it's not possible. It's just going to be harder.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually do know what you really want to be doing, and it's going to take, let's say, a couple of years of study for you to get into it, and the job you're doing right now is like crushing your soul.
Yeah.
And hopefully you've married someone who is understanding enough that you can talk to them about it and say, look, babe, if I keep doing this job, I'm honestly going to be so miserable. It's going to screw up everything for this family.
Yeah.
You know, if I continue to go down the path I'm going down, it's killing me inside. I really want to do this. It's going to take me a couple years to get to the point where I can get work in that field. And I'm going to have to, you know, we're going to have to make some compromises to make it happen, but I'm confident. Like, I'm really certain. I think that lack of confidence is one thing that makes it difficult for a lot of guys to have this conversation as well. But if you have that confidence, and then it's like, okay, I'm still obviously have to work, still got to pay the bills, but now each night I'm studying for this thing.
Yeah.
I'm finding a way to fit this into my life, and it might be a really tough couple of years.
Yeah.
Because you're taking on all this extra work. However, after those couple of years, you actually get to live the life that you were trying to live the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you go through that pain up front, and then, you know, let's say you're 40, you might have 40 years to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're not willing to knuckle down for a couple of years to change the things that are most important to you, so you can live the rest of your life as the man you want to be.
Yeah.
Instead, you think it's better to just cruise through something that is making you miserable for potentially another couple of decades.
Yeah. Big thing. And the partner, I'm glad you brought up the partner thing, because I think that was like a lesson for myself. But obviously I didn't have mortgage and kids to feed, but when we were together, she was really great, and I didn't know what I wanted, so I was trying a bunch of things. She just said, I just want you to choose one thing and commit fully to it, and I'll support you however that is. When I did try like a few things where I committed pretty heavy to for a while, she was fully supportive. It was when I was kind of chopping and changing where she could see I didn't have the confidence in it, therefore she didn't have the confidence in me to do it, so she was obviously very upset. And I think that's with all women, like they'll be not all, but a lot of women, they'll be supportive of you if you commit to it, you stay integral to what you say you're going to do, and you let her know, like, this is going to benefit us in the long run. This is going to benefit our relationship, financially, our family, and I'm going to commit to it. If you just commit to that and you prove to her every day that you're going to commit to your word and you're integral to it, if she loves you, she'll stay around and support you 100%. And all you need to do is consistently work towards it and you'll be sweet.
Absolutely.
If she leaves, maybe she's not for you then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, because a lot of blokes don't have that internal confidence in themselves and what they're doing, it's difficult to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And like we said at the start, win her over and influence her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I could definitely say that to my girlfriend, and I'm confident I'd get her full support because she believes in me, because I believe in myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I exude that in the way that I speak, not because I'm this amazing person, but because I've found a thing that makes me feel that way.
Yeah.
And it allows me to have a conversation like that. And and it's not just my girlfriend, but anyone you're trying to influence, right? You're trying to influence a client to come on board and be a part of your things, because you can help them make the move that they're struggling to make themselves.
Yeah.
And once you have that confidence, it's easy to speak that way.
Yeah.
Because that's just what you believe.
100%. The confidence, like, all you need in life is confidence in yourself. That comes from competencies. And I'm sure with your partner, she would believe in you, because you didn't just jump straight to this thing. Like, daily, you proved yourself in small areas. Like, your integrity word, you said you'd have the trash out, you did it. You said you'd get up and train, you did it. All these, like, guys often look at the top of the mountain and they're at the bottom. Like, just look at the first step and start with that, because if you want to build confidence, you need to be competent. To build competence is just consistency. So all you need to do is start with the first step. You don't need to go to out of the blue and say, hey, I'm going to build a rocket ship to the moon and I want you to back me 100%. She'll think you're nuts. But if you start in one step and say, hey, I'm just going to take charge of my health, get really in good shape and be the most healthiest person for you so I can show up to work and show up to life with more energy, and you just do that, it's like the easiest thing is start with your health. Like start with looking after yourself, and then from there you'll have confidence to say, all right, I can handle that. I'm now going to start studying rocket ships. You get really good at that, then you move up, and it's just one step at a time. Don't go to her with this huge blasé plan if she's never seen you even pick up a book before. So I think start small, prove to yourself day in, day out that you can stay integral to your word consistently, and then she'll have the confidence that you'll do anything. Like she'll believe in you because she's watched you. So that's a big thing.
Definitely. And I think when it comes to purpose, the most natural, in my opinion, purpose we can have is just starting with ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to be like you said you had like your motto. What was it? What did you say before?
The purpose?
Was it, yeah, your purpose. Like you had your line, right?
To lead men to their highest selves by embodying my core values.
Yeah, brilliant. My one that just came to me and I figured it out was, I want to be the strongest, most confident and most secure man within myself so that I can help other guys do the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is basically what you said, but flipped around. Because those are my core values, and I want to help other guys do the same thing. You know? And I think that your purpose doesn't have to be this grand thing that you're trying to create. I think a lot of it can just be coming back to who you are as a person and thinking of yourself as like a video game character. And as you go through the journey, you get to upgrade your character.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's literally what you're doing. You're upgrading your character.
Yeah.
Right? You're who you are.
Yeah.
And it's, the upgrade comes in, okay, your physical body is obviously one thing you can upgrade. And that's fairly simple because we all know what we need to do. We can Google it.
Yeah.
We'll get the information like that.
Yeah.
Harder things to upgrade is your confidence.
Yeah.
Communication skills, pushing yourself to do those scary things.
Yeah.
Getting out your comfort zone. But those are some of the most valuable upgrades you can do to your character.
Yeah.
And I think that if any man struggling to figure out what his purpose is in life just started with just who would I like to be if I was just a guy in a room having a conversation with someone?
Yeah.
How would I like to present myself?
Yeah.
How would I like to speak? How would I like to look? How would I like to hold myself in that situation?
Yeah.
Because if you're all of those things that you write down when you answer that question, then you're going to see the external parts of your life begin to reflect that fact of who you are.
Yeah.
You're going to see your relationships change. You're going to see your career or business change.
Yeah.
You're going to, obviously your health has already changed. So, if you're struggling to find your purpose, because it is a bloody hard question to answer, once you've asked yourself the question, what it is that you really want, what really matters to you, then you could always just start off with what kind of a man would I like to be?
Yeah.
And then the rest will follow. The money in the bank will follow.
Yeah.
The girl that you want to be with will follow because you'll be attracted to the guy that you've turned yourself into.
Yeah. It's a big thing. It's not because like the money in the bank and the girl and all that stuff is byproducts. Don't make them your goals because once you get them, it's not really like what next. But if you make your goals becoming the best version of you, crushing whatever it is in your career that you want to crush, like all those things will just be byproducts because you'll just become this glowing ball of energy and abundance, and then you will just attract everything you want. Whereas if you're just like, I need to get a girl and I need to get $1 million in the bank, there's no like why do you need those things? Like, you're not secure with yourself. Is that why? Just get really good at embodying your core values and your integrity. All these things will just attract to you because you're just out there putting out this beautiful energy to the world. And I think that's like when I feel personally most confident is when I'm doing all the things right by me. And when I feel the least confident is when I know I'm being unintegral to my word. I know when I'm doing the things I shouldn't be doing. That's when I feel the most like, it's a strong word to use, but pathetic. I feel pathetic when I'm not doing the things that I already know and preach, is when I feel the least excited, the least confident. So whenever I just write down my values, I write down the things I want to be and become and do, as long as I just try my best every day to do that, I will be confident as because I trust what I'm doing. I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is just sticking to your values and your beliefs and going from there.
Oh, absolutely. You said a really cool thing there too, is that, let's say you write down the superficial goals. And okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you want those things, that's fair enough. But then your next question that you just said was why?
Yeah.
Like, let's drill down to the real reason behind that. Because if you are insecure, then no amount of money and no amount of chicks is going to help you.
Yeah.
You're still going to be the same bloke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you did somehow manage to get them. So understanding yourself, if that was your purpose, I just want to understand myself, what makes me tick, why I act the way that I act, so that I can change the things that I want to change. But that's such a good point. If you're a guy watching this, I hope that you take some notes, guys, and you go home and you write this stuff down, and you ask yourself these questions. But one great follow-up question is always going to be why. Why is that my answer? Why do I think that way? And because what you will find is the true answer to that question underneath some of those superficial layers that we all like to put up. And for most of us, it's just because we've never considered it. But the more honest you can be, the more clarity you have, because that's now the truth. You've actually figured it out.
Well, a great exercise is write down what you want and then write, why is that important to me, and answer that. But then just continue to ask that question over and over. Try not to repeat yourself. Keep them as long or brief as you need, but just keep answering, like, I want this because X, Y, Z. Why is that important to me? Because X, Y, Z will give me this. Why is that important? Because Z, Z. Just keep going until you just cannot get any more. Try and push for 10 or 11, and you get to a really deep, under the surface reason as to why all this is important to you. And if you have that core knowing, all the how becomes a lot easier. The why is like there, so the how becomes a lot easier, because every day you can wake up and be like, all right, I'm doing this not because of the girls in the cars, not because of the status, not because of the money, but down here because I want to leave a legacy for my family, because I feel like my family didn't leave one for me, something like that. You just go to get to this core belief that the fuel there is way stronger than any other superficial thing. Getting straight to the crux of it.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Awesome, fantastic, man. Well, I got two more questions for you, mate. So, Unbreakable Man is all about helping guys overcome their struggles, and there's not a single man on this planet that doesn't have them, I don't believe. Or, there's a very few fortunate blokes who have done all of the work over so many years to overcome those things. But I want to know then, man, you're a dude. What is one of your struggles that you're working through? One of the things that challenges you the most right now?
Personally, stepping into this coaching role over the last 2 years, I've never been business savvy. I was not taught business, nor was I taught good money skills growing up in a home that had a very bad mindset around money. I've never been the best with it. I want to become a really good businessman, and I want to become a really honest businessman, but effective businessman. I want to create wealth and abundance for my family, my future generations, but I don't have the tools currently, so I need to search out who's going to help me the best. But a big struggle for me is to make all of this a structured system where all this value that I want to put out into the world, I am receiving money for it in a nice, honest way. I don't ever want to. I hate the feeling of being snaky around money. I've always been really, my dad's just drove me to be really honest about everything. So I want people to just throw money at me out of the belief that they need to, or they want to, and I want to have systems in play that I make sure that I use that money as efficiently and effectively as possible to continue the work I'm doing, plus save for my family. So a big thing for me this year is getting on top of finances, make them very systematic. And another thing, this is real simple, is I just want to sleep better. I've been having terrible sleeps, not because I sit and toss and turn, it's because I just don't have the systems in play or the discipline currently to cut off and just go to bed. So they're my two big struggles.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think that, most people naturally struggle to sell initially, right? Because even asking for money, you feel rude sometimes. That could be, that's certainly my default back in the day. And it's until you recognize your value and what you really have to offer, and also how badly the other person needs it, and how important it is for them to actually put money down as part of their process of changing. because I'm sure you've had this experience as a coach. When you give your coaching away for free, you've done that before, at least a couple of times, I'm sure.
And they don't.
Literally not a single man that I've ever done that for has ever amounted to anything.
Yeah.
Not one, to a T.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're unwilling to sacrifice some of your money towards this goal, then you're telling yourself that that's not important to me, right? You're a coach, and you said before, I want to become a good business person, so I need to figure out who is going to help me to do that, right?
Yeah.
So as coaches, we also pay for coaches.
Oh, yeah.
I pay good money to have people who know what I need to know teach me how to do it, right? And every single time I put my card down, that's me saying that I'm committed to learning this because this is important in my life. And that's why we learn it, right? Because we invest. We sacrifice to get the knowledge and to get the experience we need.
Yeah.
You know, so when it comes to, like, we never want to feel like we're not giving 10 times more value than we're receiving from a client.
Yep.
And so that's, again, why we pay for coaches, so that we make sure that we're good enough to be able to provide just like, so it's an obvious thing to pay us what we're asking.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, no brainer. Like, I know the value I'm bringing, and that's maybe going back to imposter syndrome sometimes, because I've dealt with that a lot before, and that's always kind of rears up here and there. Once you reach the next level, I'm asking for this amount, am I worth that? But the big thing is when I know I'm asking for the right amount, but I just need to make sure I word it so that they understand that, yes, this is the right thing, because 100%, if they don't put the cash down, they're not committed. And if they don't believe that it's worth that, I feel like they're going to half-ass it. They'll kind of hesitate, maybe do it and half-ass it or something. But yeah, I just want to get really good at being very clear at communicating. That comes down to communication again. When you pay for this thing, it's going to change your life. So there's a reason you're paying for it.
Yeah.
And also my back ends just get better at when it comes in, putting it in the right place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice, man. That's great. Final question. Who has been the most influential person in helping you become the man you are today?
Glad you asked that. That's a good question.
We can have a few if you like.
Good, because I have two.
Go.
I was like toying up two people. Firstly is my good mate Corey Boutwell. Absolutely love him. He's an absolute stud, and he was my first, he's the first person I paid for coaching in a grand, I've paid for PTs, but in like a grand scheme of things, and especially more of a mindset thing. He's the first guy I paid big money in my mind at the time for coaching, and he immediately just over-delivered constantly. He put a lot of belief in, he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. He put a lot of trust and faith, and he nurtured that as much as he could to get me to where I am now, and he's consistently helping me. I work with him in the standard community, coaching in there. He is always just like giving, and he's really, really good at making all the team feel really valued. So he's a really good boss, really good leader. I don't like to use the term boss, but like it's his thing. He's running that. He is a freaking boss though. He's just helped me tremendously to build confidence to step into this. But he asks really fucking hard questions of me all the time, which make me think. And it's so simple. It's normally just why, something like that. He's my first one. He's just changed a lot for me. Second is Guy, the co-owner of Brotherhood, the founder of Brotherhood. He's just inspiring, extremely inspiring. No matter what, if it's just fully out of his realm, if it just seems impossible, he will just aggressively commit and show up to anything. He is relentless in his hustle. He is relentless in giving. He is so integral, so truthful, so like a man of his word, a man of action. He just constantly asks for more of me and wants more of me because he knows that I can do it. Even if I don't know myself, he knows like you can do it. He just pushes in the most healthiest, caring way. And without him, I reckon I'll just still be like stuck in the job I don't like, because he just, I don't know, sparks something in me that wants to consistently level up. So those two fellas.
Nice.
Guys, real good guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good, man. Yeah. So fellas, for everyone watching this, it's absolutely key to have a mentor in your life of some description. You know, whether it's parent, whether it's someone you've had the pleasure of meeting throughout your journey, whether you've paid for coaching, regardless, those are the people that help you not just get to that next level, but get to feel comfortable in that next level. Because like you said, that person sees something in you that you don't.
Yeah.
And because they have an outside perspective of who you are as a person and what you really have to give.
Yeah.
So fellas, if you're watching this right now and you don't have a mentor in your life, it doesn't have to be someone you pay. It could be even just someone that you aspire to be like. Continue to follow that person, continue to learn from that person. You know, one of the best things you could do is invest in it, because that will commit you to it. But you should absolutely have someone like that in your life. Thank you so much for coming down here today, Adam. I really appreciate your time. It's been awesome.
Thank you very much. I loved it. Thank you for having me. That was good.
Beautiful. See you on the next episode, guys. Hey, mate, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Unbreakable Man podcast. If you did, it would be absolutely fantastic if you could leave us a 5-star review, because that's going to help us get our message in front of more men who need to hear it. Now, if you have some feedback for me, I'd love to hear that too. Comment down below. And if you just need some mini doses of Unbreakable Man motivation throughout your week, then you can follow us across all social platforms. On Facebook, it's Unbreakable Man Challenge. On Instagram, it's Unbreakable Man_challenge. And on TikTok and YouTube, it's just Unbreakable Man. Your support would be absolutely invaluable. Now, last but not least, do not forget, men aren't born, they're built.